What made Islamic civilization flourish morally and intellectually? How did faith, the Holy Quran, Islamic thinking, encourage the pursuit of knowledge, science, and art? What lessons can Muslims learn from past cultures and scientific achievements? Listen to find out. What made Islamic civilization flourish intellectually and morally? Islam has always advocated and encouraged human beings to ponder, to think, to use their minds, and that the mind is a tool that should not be wasted. And even in the pursuit of knowledge, in using our rational mind and reasoning, we must be discerning, we must be careful, and we must fill our mind with the right type of knowledge, appropriate knowledge, knowledge that will benefit us in the life of this world and in the hereafter, and will bring us closer to God. We want, by the knowledge that we are accumulating, the search and the investigation that we are engaging in, that the lives of others become improved, society becomes improved, wastage is eliminated, sustainability becomes a practice that we all can adhere to. This is what Islam did. Islamic civilization, since the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him and his progeny, was focused on study, particularly in the centuries after Prophet Muhammad's time. In those centuries, education, literacy, search, scholarly discourse, all were things that were taking place on a regular basis. A child would come from the earliest age and sit with a teacher and immediately begin to learn not only Arabic language, but the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran was at the center and at the focus of every household in Islam, in the Muslim world. It was that piece of work, God's word, that everyone was focused on learning, understanding, dissecting, and indeed applying to our lives. So this became the starting point or the stepping point for Islamic understanding, civilization, learning, and scholarship. It also simultaneously became the code by which morality was instituted amongst Muslims, because the Quran is not just a book of guidance and code from God or speech from God on its own. It is a moral code book. It is a book of ethics. It is a guideline and a blueprint for how you live your life. So simultaneously, you see this through the Holy Quran, that these two things began to flourish. So Muslim scholars together, while discussing the Quran and indeed its description of the natural world, would begin to look at the natural phenomenon surrounding them, whether that's the pattern of water flow through the rivers, the way the wind blows, the changes of season, how animals behave, how bees collect their nectar and make honey, which Quran alludes to in a very beautiful and poignant manner. They began to investigate and dissect the very nature and the details within this. This is how Islamic thought, Islamic civilization developed. From this, at the same time, one can see that not only science, but art began to develop in the Muslim world. So you see from very early collections of Muslim art that much of it was focused on calligraphy, on the writing of Islamic or Quranic text in particular. Islamic calligraphy, particularly Quranic verses, is something that is practiced even today, but that existed back many centuries ago as well, and that formed the basis for artistic expression, but artistic expression that had a root in Islam, in faith, and in the sanctity of the Holy Quran, the beauty of the Holy Quran. In fact, the unparalleled beauty of the Holy Quran when it came to writing that script. That's why you see that art flourished in the Islamic world through that calligraphy, or through illumination art, or other means of expressing the human circumstance. That art developed and was rooted in faith. And this is a cardinal sign or a cardinal indicator of a Muslim, that our faith, our religion, and our Islamic identity is at the core or the foundation of everything we do. It appears in everything we do. It has elements that appear in every aspect of our life, whether professional, whether artistic, whether it is a hobby, or it is just something we do as a pastime. Islam appears in it for every circumstance. And it shows the importance of our religion and our way of thinking. And it is rooted in the very principle of Islam that search, grow, express yourself, and develop expertise in those things that God has encouraged. Amongst them is art, amongst them is science, amongst them is discovery, mechanical advancement, and betterment of society in many different ways. This is the means by which religion teaches us to advance ourselves. So how can Muslims or human beings learn from past advancements in Muslim civilization, their scientific achievements that occurred? Muslims and human beings in general have to build upon what past generations have already achieved. They have to take that knowledge base and apply it somehow. And the beauty of scientific discovery, scientific advancement, art, any kind of other pursuit is that it can constantly evolve and improve. Science particularly. Science is something that there's no end to what we can discover. There's no end to what we can uncover of God's reality and the nature of how He has created things. So we learn from the process of discovery that there is something even more intricate that can be unveiled, that can be revealed, and that will tell us more about our Creator, that will bring us closer to Him. The same goes for artistic practice. The same goes for methodological changes that occur in any given field. That you learn from what was done and you become an expert. And in fact, our scholars today even teach us and recommend to us and advise us that Muslims should be at the forefront of advancement. They should learn the best of techniques, the most advanced of methodologies, and apply them to every field, whether that's medicine, or engineering, or law, or art, or even research science. They should be at the forefront of these. Why? Because in it there is enrichment, there is advancement, there is heightened way of thinking. I said previously that the mind is looking for that information that it is trying to use to reformulate how we see the world and how we apply ourselves to that world. And so in this discovery, in learning from the past achievements, the advancements that were established in previous generations or previous civilizations, we are building upon something that's already known and adding more information to the mind to enrich what comes next. This is a process that will continuously happen and that we teach our children as we move forward to do the same thing. So how can reviving Islamic values renew civilization in the modern world? Islam is beautiful, it is unique in that it is timeless. It is the code for all people, for all places, for all eras. And so anything that it gives you will be immediately applicable. And today, to some degree, we have moved away from its basic teachings. The desire and the goal of search and uncovering, investigation, search and pondering. Today, information is available to us at our fingertips, an immense amount of information coming very, very quickly. New information every second. But how much of that information is useful? How much of it is beneficial? And worse, how much of it is harmful to us? This is something that we should consider. And that's why Islam says, find those aspects of the world around you that are going to enrich your thinking, that are going to give you critical thinking ability, cognitive acuity, deepness in understanding the world and how we see the world. Not just information for the sake of information, but knowledge and facts that will lead you to a proper direction, to uncovering things that were previously not known, or solving problems that previously could not be solved. Because we find ourselves today in an era where the modern problems are leading us towards the destruction of the world around us. Just look at climate change. Just look at the environmental load faced by some communities over other and the disparities that we observe from one community to another. Islam demands of us that we go back to the basics, that we see and understand how wealth is distributed, the use of resources, moderation in spending, not being wasteful and extravagant, all for the purposes of ensuring that there is a sustainable system that will carry all humanity forward, not just now, not just 50 years, but for 300 years, 500 years. This is an obligation on all of us, and it is Islamic thought that we carry forward and that we should indeed revisit today in order to live better lives, in order to bring back a more moral way of living into the current civilization and the modern world in which we find ourselves. That is a responsibility upon all of us. And if we do so, we can ensure a better world for ourselves and for the generations to come.